things have advanced so much that women in sports are able to be who they are. It was different when we was coming up, Deasia. That was still growing, where people were still accepting that women are here in sports. It's nothing lightly. We back with another episode. And this one, we're celebrating our birthday. Can we believe it, Deasia? We've been together 30 years at this point. We basically a married couple. I know I've been saying it for the past few weeks, but imagine being with somebody, one person, one single person for 30 years. We told y'all before we're twins. I'm C's and that's Dee Dee. And we just wanted to do something kind of special, go down memory lane on some of our memories in sports, but also we wanted to celebrate the first few episodes of our show. So this is nothing lightly. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Definitely follow us on TikTok because we're posting every day there. And we just love that app. So you're going to get all the news that we're sharing. Everything sports related is there. You're going to hear our takes. And then everywhere, anywhere that you get your podcast, listen to us. It's nothing lightly. And when you listen and give us 5 stars. All right, Deasia, what's up? What we doing for our birthday?
So this is our birthday episode. As Sierra already mentioned, we turning 30. I thought that we kind of started off by talking about, why did we start this podcast? I know this is almost about our 5th episode. We got many drafts. Some of them don't make it, some do. But if just in the chain, but let's just say this is 5. So we didn't do an episode of why we started our podcast and what makes this, why did we name this show Nothing Lightly? Why are we so close to sports? So let's get into that, Sierra.
All right. The reason why we had a few names on the table, but this one kind of just stuck because when we think about the impact of sports to us and the influence, it's just something that we truly are passionate about, and we just embody the name as we speak of it. But everything that we talk about, these are our everyday conversations, and I know Deasia says it a lot, but it's true. If you ever get a chance to, if you was a fly on the wall in one of our conversations on the phone, one of our conversations of us just standing in our apartments, talking to each other, talking about sports, this is how we usually talk. We just happen to have a microphone and a camera. Now, that's the only difference. So it's something that we don't take lightly. We take very seriously. This is, in most of it, our 30 years, Deasia, this has been half of our lives. Half of our lives have been dedicated to sports. So it's funny now we're kind of going back to it, but in a different way. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like how you say it. We going back to it in a different way. As of right now, you're coaching track and, that was kind of your way of getting close to sports. And then I know one of your goals is to eventually coach basketball. But who would have thought that before that happens, God opened up another door for us to do this podcast. And it's something we talked about. We really wanted our brother to do it with us, but he decided not to. So, we kind of made the show our own. And it's actually pretty good this way because we can cover a lot of things that we like to cover, especially women's sports. That might not be something he always want to talk about. Although he had to watch us play sports for so long, it's kind of ironic he doesn't want to talk about it. But, it's something we like to talk about. So this has been fun. I love the times when I get to talk to my sister. Like, I really look forward to when I get to talk sports with my sister. So for us to make this into a podcast, it's just, why not? And I enjoy it. I look forward to it. I like to see what's her thoughts. I like to go back and forth. I like to have some banter. Of course, I got a rant, and sometimes she's like the mellow version of me. But if you met us in real life, that's really how it is. So that's how we bring it. We bring that to you all. We hope that you enjoy it so far. We've been enjoying it. And nothing else. We like to listen to it. And we are a connoisseur of podcasts. So it was only right that eventually we did our own. And this is just our take. This is our spin on sports podcast.
Yeah. I think that it's enjoyable. We live some busy lives outside of this podcast, outside of sports, even outside of me coaching. We're kind of busy in our careers, but this is just like a breather for us. This is easy and it's fun. I mean, all day, me and her are going, like, I'm sending a text. Did you see who just got traded? Did you see who just they on an injury list now? Did you see what that team just did? Oh, she's sending me, did you just see this upset? Like, we was literally maybe 20 minutes ago, she was just telling me that Duke beat Notre Dame. So like we're just giving each other these updates all day. All the only difference is we're talking to you all about it. But this is our everyday conversations. So Deasia, with all that being said, let's take it back. What is your very first moment in any sport that you can remember? What was your introduction to this thing? Whatever it is.
So I like to say this. I mean, I don't tell this story to a lot of people. I think I've told it to you, our mom. I don't know even know if our brother knows this. So let me start off by saying the reason why we got introduced to sports is really because our mom. She needed a break from us. Of course, she had twins, and then she had our younger brother who's 3 years younger than us. And on the weekend, she had been working all week, so on the weekend, she needed a break. So what did she do? She would send us with our granddad. And at the time, for maybe even before we were born, when my mom was about our age or younger, he had started a sports organization in Chicago. So he was like at the park district, he would have a league and basically send boys around and they would play baseball versus different park districts. So as we get older, maybe 10 years after that, my mom had us, we was around 5, 6 at the time. That league had grown and it was more than just baseball. It was basketball. You know, he had made it bigger than just a few park districts. He was taking them all across the city. And then my mom said, well, they're of age now. Can they come with you? And so that was our introduction into sports. Every weekend we would go and be a part of the sports organization that our granddad had. It was called the Southwest Patriots of Chicago. And we would go and we would play baseball every weekend, or we would play basketball. So my introduction and how I just love basketball was because people don't know this, but I was really not that great at baseball. Now, Sierra, she could at least catch the ball. She was better than me. I'll say that. She was better than me. My granddad, he never let me do anything more than playing the outfield. You know, as a kid, like it's cool now to see outfielders, but as a kid, that was kind of like, why am I so far away from the bases? Why can't I get into action? And of course, he threw me out there. Now, this is kids, so nobody was hitting the ball that far, right? So, of course, he throws me out there because he knew the ball wasn't coming to me. If it was coming to me, I probably I wouldn't have caught it. And so Sierra was good enough. She would play the infield. She was playing second base one time and she got hit with a ball. And our dad was like, that's it for them with baseball, because she came home with a black eye. Now, of course, my granddad convinced my mom to keep having us play. And of course, she wasn't going to let us not play because it was her weekend off. Every time we got to go with my granddad, she was able to have a break from whatever she was doing with us. And it was her free time. So we kept playing. And we moved up a level, but we didn't move up a level in our skill. We just moved up a level in our age. So that level, we was no longer playing T-ball. It came to real ball at that point. Well, you gotta throw the ball and you gotta be able to hit without the T. So of course we were so bad that the boys would say, "Oh, the twins are coming up. Get your gloves, boys." We going back in the field because we was coming up to bat. So I remember I was done with the talks of course, yeah, we couldn't hit. You know, the ball was just too fast for us at the time. I think I got one hit and that was a foul ball. And after that, I got struck out. I don't even know what you did, Sierra, but we just call a spade a spade. We wasn't good, right? She was good on the field, but I wasn't good in either. So I remember that. Them boys used to be talking a lot of mess to us. And so I told them, and I remember this vividly, you know what? I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to come back and I'm going to bust y'all in basketball. I probably didn't say that exact words, but I told them, like, I'm way better in basketball. Like, you're not going to see me in the winter. As a kid, I'm basically saying this. So now you got to live up to it. As a kid, you got to turn around and live up to this. So I'm telling this long story to say, did we live up to it? We knocked that door down, knocked it over. Them boys, they couldn't say nothing to me and Sierra. I probably was dropping 30 a game, you know, and that was just park district ball. So it was easy to do that. We was just way better than competition. 2 girls way better than all them boys that was talking all that mess. Oh, get your gloves, boys. Yeah. Now what? Come guard me. couldn't guard me, couldn't guard C's, and that's just how my love for basketball grew. And it really was because I was so terrible at baseball. I told myself I got to get better in one sport. And I'm looking across to the person that was always my biggest competitor. I don't know what was her driving factor of what made her so good, but I'm telling you, it was them boys telling me, "Go get your gloves," and I came back with a vengeance. Like, no, no, this is my sport, and basketball was my sport. What's your coming to the sports league moment, Sierra? How did you get started with sports?
Well, I remember those moments too, like early on when we was, let's just say we were trash in baseball. We was terrible. But I mean, I enjoyed the game. We enjoyed watching it. We just weren't good at it. And maybe it was the coordination of batting. But that didn't carry over. I mean, with basketball, we had all the coordination. We had it early on. And it was just things that you wanted to do. We would see the older guys, and I think it wasn't really a lot of women, girls that age, teenagers. But we was young. We was like only 6. We would see they were probably in high school at the time. You see dribbling between the legs, spin moves. You wanted to do that with the basketball. And I remember just falling in love with like, hey, I'm gonna be able to dribble like that one day. And then a year or two later, maybe by the time we were 8, we was doing that stuff. But it took time. It took a lot of practice. We say this like, yes, we had some natural ability, but we did spend a lot of hours practicing. But one of my most fondest memories, we can say all of that is, it was the Saturdays, the Friday nights, preparing. We would go over our grandma's house, and a lot of people always say, who's your biggest role model? It's not anybody else outside of who I know. Like, I don't look up to someone I don't know. I look up to my grandma, my great grandma. I look up to my granddad. I look up to my mom. I looked up to my dad. But my great grandmother, who my Deasia is saying our mom and our dad would drop us off over there, she would get us ready Friday night. And they all lived in a building. My granddad owned a 3-flat building. So my grandma, she lived on the top floor. That was his mom. They lived on the middle floor, and then I think my uncle might have lived on the bottom level. Somebody lived on the bottom. But anyway, we'll be on the top floor. Our grandma will get us, you got to go to bed early. You going to basketball with your granddad in the morning. That was her son. And we like, yeah, we know. But it was those moments of spending all that time with her. She was just a beautiful lady, a sweet lady. And she loved basketball. She loved her some Bulls, some Chicago Bulls. So it's not just about the playing. It's about our family being around this game. And then our granddad, to see what he was doing for the city of Chicago, for the South Side. But looking back on it now, that was beautiful because he took some of those kids and gave them opportunity to be kids, to see something else, to, hone in on the craft. It was their introduction, just like it was ours for sports. It was theirs too. These were young kids. And for him to be, played that role, a mentor role, a father figure for a lot of them. But that's where like the root, the core of our love for sports came from. Came from the people we know, the people we love.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought up grandma because I can always remember watching her in her apartment in her room when the Bulls come on. Like, don't bother me, the Bulls come on. She got on the vintage Bulls tee with all the players after a championship, and that when you talk about Die Hard, she was that. So when people come to me like, "Oh, I'm a Die Hard fan," like I know what that means. She really see her. No, I mean, it's cool now to say, yeah, we love the Lakers. We consider ourselves diehard, but I don't think we at the level of what she was. She just, no matter what, she gonna watch every single game. She riding with whoever on the team. Like, let's be honest here. We like the Lakers when they good. We like them because of LeBron. If he goes to another team, I'm gonna go to another team. It's just a fact. I'm a huge fan, but she was just a fan of the Bulls. No matter who was on it, she loved them, and I love to see her, just full of joy watching them with a vintage T-shirt on and a cup of popcorn in front of her. That was amazing.
Yeah, and the Asia Pepsi that they still love today. They love some dark pop. Oh yeah,
So
those
let's
are
talk
our
about
early memories.
let's talk about our rise in sports. Of course, we started with that sports organization with our granddad. Then we transitioned to other park districts. That was just one park district. We transitioned to different park districts around the south side. And before we know it, somebody was telling our dad, you should get them into AAU. And we just thinking, what does that mean? What is that? Can we play more sports? Like, what is that? Is this going to be bigger? Because at this point, imagine we beating all these boys. Our competition level, like we can roll in and, it's just getting too easy. So our dad was like, what's next? Our mom was saying, what's next for them? So somebody told our dad, you should consider them with AU, and it's an organized league where just girls play. So we was thinking, wow, for the first time, we can just play all girls. And from there on, it's kind of history. We just went to another level, and like
The
Sarah said,
development
it
at that
wasn't
point.
all easy. Our first year was kind of rough. We had to transition to was unorganized to very organized, and you got to find your levels. We went to camps, and after that, your game just heightens. And our dad was very influential, and although you playing on a team, you still got to practice. So every day we practicing 3 and 4 hours in our backyard as much as we can, and from there, it's just really history. This is how we grew to love for it. Those moments with our dad being our coach, he was really our most truest coach. It made us who we were. It developed consistency with us, persistence. We developed different things that we still use today in our different careers, like being able to work together for a team and being able to work hard at something. He taught us that there was many hours that we had to put in, whether that's just watching plays, whether that's watching games, whether that's doing moves without a ball. Sometimes we didn't have a ball, so you just got to imitate moves. And those were moments that I never forget. But it all started from our granddad, so shout out to them. We love them for it. And that's just who we are. It's been part of our life, and now we're heading into year 30.
What's so special though, Deasia, is we did all of this together. Imagine playing every weekend. Like, yes, we sacrificed a lot at that early age. And anybody who is at this point, anybody, it's a lot of people that can relate to this. We meet a lot of people, maybe not basketball, maybe it was track for them. It was track for us too, part of it. Maybe it's DH volleyball. Some people, it was soccer. We come to know people later in life. It could have been hockey. It could be golf. Anything, we know people, DH, that have had to sacrifice something. But the point of it is, it didn't feel like that all the time for us because we did this together. I was with my very best friend. It didn't feel lonely. This journey felt like she understood we was doing this together. And that was a blessing. So we thank God for that because everybody doesn't have that. When you're the age out there for hours and somebody's saying you got to take 100 shots, you got to hit 100 layups, you got to hit 20, 30 free throws in a row, right? But who's throwing you the ball back? Who's counting your shots? We had that in each other. So we're just so blessed. And we had so much fun with this. That's why we're back in some way because we're doing this together. This is my best friend.
So we talked a lot about, we talked so far about our granddad, we talked about our grandma, we talked about our dad a little bit, how he was able to coach us, but what about our mom, Sierra? What is it that she was able to do as being that support system for us? We see, as we watching college games now, you notice that they have the fans in the stands, and it's usually families. They're flying them out from different countries if it's an international player or just, being there. What did it mean to have our mom in the stands at every game, never missing a track meet, never missing a game. She was always there. Whether it was even could be for our brother when he played baseball, she never missed his game. She always took him to camps and stuff. How influential was having that support system? How did that make you into a better player, and how is that still affecting you now?
It was everything. Now, basketball fans, I'm going to throw something at y'all. Movie fans, loving basketball. When she told her mom, Deasia, I must have played in 1,000 games. I can only remember you at 2. We didn't know what that was. That was one part in the movie, Deasia, we could not relate to. She was always there. It was everything. As you're a young girl, you're growing. things have advanced so much that women in sports are able to be who they are. It was different when we was coming up, Deasia. That was still growing, where people were still accepting that women are here in sports. We would be, Deasia, sometimes ostracized, sometimes singled out. And like I said, this is not just for us. We have met people that feel the exact same way, in their respective sports, where the journey could have become lonely. But when you have the support of your mom that's rooting for you and there every step of the way, it's everything. It meant everything. If we wanted one person there, it was her. Because, Deasia, when the game became too much, because we would walk away sometimes crying. It meant that much to us. We were so passionate about it. She was there to wipe our tears. She was there to say, okay, you haven't stopped thinking about missing that shot. You got to let it go. It was her. And she was the reason, Deasia, she got us back up. So I just love her for that. And I mean, we owe everything to her because of what she sacrificed for us to be able to, not just sports, Deasia, just us in general, to go after anything that we wanted. She, what we desired, our dreams became her dreams. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and she's still doing that now. And like you said, Sierra, I could never, repay what my mom did for not just me, you, and our brother. She did all of that without knowing much about the sport. I could see if she was a big fan, Sierra. All she knew was what her dad had shown her when he had started that sports organization. But other than that, she was never a big athlete herself. But to throw her into this environment of AU, throw her into this environment of now you got to watch them play high school, and I need you to take their stats down. I need you to run him out to a camp all the way out there, and then I need you to turn around the next weekend and I need you to take them to a tournament. But she never questioned that, Sierra, and it wasn't like that's what she wanted. You know what I mean, Sierra?
She didn't sign up for it.
Yeah, she didn't sign up for that.
This is what you don't
yeah,
know.
that come
Deasia,
with
and
having
that's the funny
kids.
thing. You never know what your kid is gonna be into.
Right.
Like we can say now, Deasia, in our next 30 years, when we have kids, you don't know what they'll be good at. It could be music. It could be, Deasia, it could be what we're doing right now. It could be talking. It could be some form of journalism or media. It could be anything. It could be running. They can just love animals. But whatever it is, as a parent, what she did was gave us those opportunities to explore that. And so that support, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it was what we needed.
Deasia, as an adult, at this point, looking back, you see that, how much that meant. And I mean, I have a different perspective of it now too, because I'm coaching. Like you see how that goes a long way, how that support, it really does go a long way.
Yeah, and like I said, Sierra, she didn't know half of it, but over them years, she learned. She can talk basketball with the best of them now, but at first, she didn't know what a travel was. So it took time, and like as we was growing our game, she was growing hers. Although she never played, she watched, and she has always been our biggest fan. And now I can't stop without saying thank you, Mom. I appreciate you. I love you. As we transition, just quickly talk about why you fell in love with basketball, as far as why that sport out of all the sports we did, why was it that one? We already mentioned that why I came to love it, but what made you be such a great fan of it? I mean, even though we played, it doesn't necessarily mean you are a fan of that sport. Or why are you a huge fan of that sport over everything else?
I think we spent so much of our life, our 30 years, we dedicated so much of it to sports. And the brink of that is basketball, Deasia. It was nothing else that we wanted to do. Like when people say, "Oh, that was my first love," for us it was basketball. It wasn't this and that. It was basketball. It was the first thing that broke my heart. It brought me true tears. Basketball was that for me. I don't know why. I just don't know, Deasia. But that's how I know it must have been important. Like God blessed us with this. But I think also when you good at something, it becomes natural to you. The better that you get, the more personal it becomes. It's like this was ours. This is our game. We shared it together, but it's like this was everything. This was my goal. And yes, everything didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But who's saying it didn't? I
Right.
mean, we're still writing this story. You don't know what's going to come of something. All we can say is God is good, and I am blessed that I was able to love something this long. Some people don't commit to anything for over 20 years. We're still committed to it. I mean, I could sit and watch it and never go bored. Now we don't play it. We practice here and there, but it's watching it, it's studying it, it's being able to talk about it at a high level and have your opinion. Everybody can't say that they have something like that. For us, it was basketball.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, we get to share it. For me, it's just being able to, it's kind of like my white noise. It's my always there. Like if I really want to go to sleep, some people can put on some music or something. I could watch a game and I could fall asleep to that. And sometimes I just play it without the without the sound. I could just watch it. I could play it with the sound. I could listen to the commentators without watching. There's many ways that I basically digest this game. And I like to criticize it. I like to give my opinion. I'm a fan all around. And sometimes it could be, your passion comes out with that, But with that, I'm just a student of the game, still continue to learn, But a lot of that comes with I just really love to stay close to the game. And the only way you could do that is continuously to be a fan of it. That's at all levels, though. It's not just the college. It's not just the pros. Any basketball, I love to watch it. And as you say, I still love to participate. Don't catch me in the gym. I'm still going to drop 20 on you. I love when I get to play our brother in a pickup game, go all the way to Tennessee just to play him. I love those moments. And that's what basketball is to me. It's always been my escape for whatever reality I got. It's brought me peace. When people say loving basketball, that's what it always been to me. Speaking of loving basketball, what is your all-time favorite basketball movie?
Loving basketball.
Okay, period. For me, you know what mine is? What is mine?
Glory Road.
Yep, Glory Road. I feel like those doors was open then for women now. You got to make some change in basketball, and for him to play a full black team and he sat in them stands, I tell you all the time, see, I remind you of that moment. Calling them names. I love that. That was my favorite part of the movie. And that door was open then, all them years ago, for women to be able to continuously open doors. There's other feats in basketball that still got to be pushed. There's other barriers that still have to be knocked down, hurdles that have to be jumped. But it started there. When the first black African-American team won the NCAA championship and that coach decided he was only playing black players. Women are still jumping these hurdles now. What is it for you? What is your sports drive? What keeps you going? We heading into 30, God willing, God keeps blessing us. We go and we see many, many, many more decades together. What is your sports drive? What's keeping you going? What's next for you?
Well, I could say at the level that's close to me, that's personal, it's my team, my track team. Shout out to them. My high school track team that's in the south side of Chicago. They mean the world to me. You know how I feel about them. It's not, they can't pay me no amount of money that would say this is enough because they're everything. I just want to be a role model to them. It's not about, I can be hard on them and say, I want state, I want scholarship opportunities, I want this and that. But the biggest thing is, I just want to be that person in their life that they can say, wow, she influenced me in this way and positively. Her words, her mentorship, and helped me get through my high school career. She taught me something. I modeled this. This is how I approached this because of her. And I just want to be that. But that's one piece of it. Why I'm going hard in sports. Because of them. But also because this has been our life. And if God gave you something like this, it's a gift, right? You got to continue to sow into that gift. And part of it is what we're doing now through our podcast. Just sharing it, talking about it, bringing light to something, especially in a time, and we kind of mentioned this before, when it's a lot going on in the world. But if it's our job, if it's, it's some of our responsibility, Deasia, to share in sports in a way that a lot of people can relate to, that's what we have to do. And I just enjoy it so much. So I hope that we are continuing to be blessed to talk about it, to coach it, wherever it takes us. I want to be in some way a part of the LA 2028 Olympics. It's on my vision board, but that's huge. I want to be a part of those moments. And I know we got big things coming down for us in medicine with sports. So I just hope that that continues to be a part of us. And I want to be giving into it just like it gives into me. So that's what I would say with that.
Yeah, for me, I would agree to that. I'm sports medicine. That's what I want to see myself on the court, being able to be that doctor or that consult that's able to help athletes. I hope one day we have our practice treating athletes. But besides that, more than that, whatever you think, like God can do more than that. I'm praying that he does more than these small thoughts. These are minute to him. One of those, though, is like, just use me as a voice, use my sister as a voice for women's sports. I truly believe that there are so many more barriers. Use us, use our podcast, glorify your kingdom, but also uplift others who may not be as fortunate to have these beliefs and these thoughts that women need equality. So use us in that way, whether that's through our podcast in some other form or fashion. But my goal is to always stay close to the game. And that's how I'll say that's my sports drive. That's where I want to see myself. And I hope God continues to use us both.
All right, y'all. In a few days, we're going to blow out 30 candles. But I got a few funny questions. Before we get to that, this one is kind of out there. So let me see what you think. If aliens landed and challenged Earth to one game of basketball for our survival, who's the starting five? And it could be anybody. You can even throw yourself in there.
I'm not throwing myself in there.
No, remember, this is the world. The world is going down. And you don't choose it, right?
Yeah, I got to choose the right people. I'm going to put MJ, prime MJ. I'm putting LeBron right now. I'm putting, give me Steph, Olympic Steph. Give me Olympic Melo. And give me Shaq.
I was hoping you said Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, you need a dominant force. You need somebody that's gonna yank that rim down and the glass is shattering.
That's my Space Jams squad, my Looney Tunes squad.
Which athlete do you think will make the worst rapper, but you still listen to their album?
Steph, I guess. Or Draymond. I would listen because I just want to talk mess. That's why. But I don't think he could rap. I'd be very surprised if he could do that.
And now, here's a question. And I know what you probably say. Which athlete do you think talks the most trash but will 100% cry if someone clap back? I only brought that up because you say Draymond, but he normally try to back up his stuff.
Sarah, I mean, come on now. He still talks the most trash. You just you preface that with that. So I don't know anybody talking more trash. I'm not in the league, so I don't know like who really talking trash, but just based on a fan's perspective, it's him. He do try to like back it up what he's saying, but most of it he can't back it up very far. See, they talking points. He could never back that up. Goran, he could never back it up.
Well, I don't think he cries, but you see like I don't know.
He complains. He don't cry, but he complains. Just like when they was trying to get him out the league, somehow he was able to stay. He complained, or like all of a sudden he became the victim. That's what it is. When he held Gobert by the throat, and then somehow Draymond became the victim, like y'all ostracizing me.
If you can replace the happy birthday song with a sports-themed anthem, what song are we using from now on? Like, you kind of always said, it may not mean nothing to y'all. I can't believe I just sang on this podcast, but
understand nothing was done for me. I'm not going with that because I ain't with Drake right now, so no.
Why not? Because of Kendrick?
Sarah, it's not, Sarah, I don't.
On a run.
Sarah, what are you talking about? What is your sports theme song?
The question is, if you could replace the happy birthday song with a sports themed anthem, I say that was an anthem. Like every time I hear that song, I think of the LeBron movie. What song are we using from now on? You can say blow the whistle. Blow the whistle.
Mm-mm.
What song?
Stronger, Kanye West. It's so many Kanye songs, Sierra. Stronger, Kanye
Champion,
West.
champion. You
Champion,
just
Kanye West. Na la la la. Wait till I get my money right. That one.
oh yeah, it could be
I
all.
had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I woke,
I spent that on a necklace.
I
Yeah, when that beat dropped. Anyway, I was kind of. I think yeah, Kanye West, but no, R. Kelly, world's
Sarah, don't
greatest.
say R. Kelly on this podcast.
World's. You can't deny that. The world's greatest. That don't put you in a mood if you in your layup line or you sitting there in your blocks and you just praying that you can get through this 400. What's wrong with that? Okay, if you had to celebrate your birthday by doing one athlete's intense workout for the day, whose are you absolutely avoiding?
Simone Biles workout. I don't want to get on no balance beam, no bars. I don't know what she doing. I don't think I could do that because she probably got to walk on her toes all day on that balance beam. I'm avoiding that. What was you going to say?
I was going to say her too.
So we'll end it there, Sierra. I'm just telling you now in advance, happy birthday. I can't wait till this comes out. This one will be released on March 13th. That's a big one for us. We'll be 30. And who would have thought? Who would have thought that on that day, like on March 13th, we could release our podcast, Sierra? We don't take this stuff lightly. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit us on TikTok. Tell us in the chat happy birthday if you can. Give us a 5 stars. Give us a rating. Hit us on Instagram. Subscribe, like, do all those things. Like I said, this is just our conversation. Thank you for listening.